The Robotics Obstacle Course Challenge will be completed using LEGO EV3 robots, computers running Mindstorm software, and a maze set up on a 4-foot by 8-foot robotics competition table. The unit should be completed in the second semester of at least a year-long robotics course. This lesson assumes that students already have background knowledge in building and programming robots. The LEGO Mindstorm robot was inspired by Seymour Papert and his constructionism theory. Papert and his team at MIT worked with the LEGO group to create robots in the Mindstorm software. Students learn through play with these robots. They have a tangible item to work with that gives them immediate feedback that they can learn from. So basically learning through play. Robots are great for explaining mathematical concepts. In this example, the robot or pieces of the robot are used to find circumference of the wheel. You can also use distance traveled, angle measurements, and averages. But the one featured in this example is circumference, because by playing with these robots, students learn that circumference of the wheel is equivalent to one rotation of the wheel, which means the distance that they can travel in one rotation of the wheel is actually the wheel's circumference measurement. So we'll just speed that up a little bit. And then we get to the rotations. Okay. When students are introduced to this lesson, I've created a video, and it's actually out on YouTube, and you can see it a little better there. There's a sound behind it and everything, and it gives the constraints and the rules for this challenge. And this was a fun video that was created with Powtoon. It was a free thing. It was pretty easy to use. But this tells them all the details of the challenge. And of course, document all your work. The lesson plan for this: learning theories, constructionism, taxonomy level creation, pedagogical approach, experiential learning, and integrated learning. This is actually a 12-day lesson, about 12 days, depending on your student experience. And in that lesson, or in those 12 days, students will work through numerous math concepts. They'll work with mechanical design as they modify their EV3 educator robot, computer science by programming through the Mindstorm software, and also the engineering design process that they will work through. Some students will finish early, your more advanced students will, and then they can have the option to either help students that are a bit slower or having trouble, because it's great for them to learn from each other. And they can also reprogram their robot using loops and sensor measurements, which is a more advanced way to program than just moving for a number of rotations. So students will have to create their plan and submit it for approval, which will require them to do the measurements and all of that. And then they will submit their plan, which this would be an example of an initial plan. After they have done that, they can then begin building their robot, which here's a little video of some kiddos building using the LEGO Mindstorm robots. And this is the plan that comes with the educator bot, or the educator kit. And it's a standard educator vehicle is what it's called. And then students will start there and modify as needed. Okay. Then once they get their robot built, they can begin programming. And this is a short little video of tutorial for building. Mindstorms is a block-based system that's very visual and gives immediate feedback. You can send it right to the robot, have the robot do what it says, and then see if it's doing what you wanted it to, because robots always do exactly what you tell them to. So in this little tutorial, or example video, I guess it is, it's just programming the robot for rotations and then having it turn until the gyro reads a certain degree. This is actually an example program from one of my students, and they did a good job kind of documenting, but it's a pretty simple one. This is another example. This group used loops to drive until. And then once they get their program built, they can go to the table. Oops, not that one. This one. And try it out. And this is where the troubleshooting begins. Students will see how their original program works in live action and then tweak with it. And this would be the line following. They have to use averages to find the average color. That's their target area. And at the end, the robot drives and it should stop on the red line. However, this group was still in the troubleshooting process. With all that said, we then have grading criteria. On a 12-day unit, it gives you lots of opportunities to get number grades, even though they don't really show what the kids know. In a school setting, we need actual numerical grades. And that is the Robotics Obstacle Course Challenge. I look forward to your feedback.